The man sitting across from me was a ghost. Dr. Kane Fogg, once a celebrated virologist whose name was synonymous with hope during the Kappa variant, now looked hollowed out. His hands trembled around a cold cup of coffee in my office. "They're right, you know," he whispered, his voice ragged. "The evidence, the video, it's all there. I did it." This was my client, and he was confessing to crime I was hired to prove he didn't commit. The crime was digital treason. 3 weeks earlier, a video had surfaced on a fringe news site. It showed Dr. Thorne in his own lab, speaking calmly to an off-screen interviewer. "The Kappa data was manipulated," he said, a slight, unnatural smile on his face. "We exaggerated the fatality rate by 400% to secure billions in funding. The pandemic was, for all intents and purposes, a carefully managed fraud." The world exploded. The man who had been hailed as a savior was now the architect of a global lie. His reputation was ash. His career over. He was facing life in prison. The evidence was overwhelming. The video passed every mainstream deepfake detection test. His own voice, his own face, his own lab. He had confessed to his lawyers, broken by the sheer weight of the proof. But his daughter, Lena, she hired me. She believed in the ghost of the man her father used to be. "My father would never do this," she said, her voice still wrapped in grief. "But that's not what the evidence says. I need you to be a detective, not of people, but of pixels. Find a lie in the machine." So here I was, with a client who believed his own guilt, tasked with proving a truth he had already surrendered. The case was a digital coffin, nailed shut by perfect evidence. My job was to find a splinter, unmasking the algorithm, the ghost in the video. My lair is in a dusty office. It's a rack of humming servers and light-bending monitors. I am a digital detective. My forensics lab is built from code. My witnesses are metadata packets. And my crime scenes exist in a silent, frantic world of ones and zeros. I started with the source video. I downloaded it from the original post, a process that felt like handling a radioactive isotope. My first step was a standard deepfake battery. I ran it through every AI detection suite I had access to, both commercial and my own custom scripts. Result: inconclusive. 92% probability of authenticity. The AI was too good. It had mastered the micro-expressions. The subtle flutter of a blink, the way light reflected off the cornea, the almost imperceptible movement of the skin around the mouth. This wasn't the work of a hobbyist. This was a state-level forgery or something entirely new. But perfection is its own flaw. In a world saturated with AI slop, a perfect video is an anomaly. It's too clean. Real life is noise. Digital noise, compression artifacts, the chaos of the real world. I isolated the audio track. Voice cloning is arguably more advanced than video deepfakes. I ran a spectral analysis, looking for the telltale bubble effect of synthesized speech, the slight homogenization of frequencies. Nothing. It was his voice, captured by a high-quality microphone. Frustration began to creep in. I was looking for a digital fingerprint, but the artist was wearing gloves. Then, I had a heretical thought. What if I wasn't supposed to prove the video was fake? What if I was supposed to prove where it came from? I shifted my focus from the content to the container. The video file's metadata was, predictably, scrubbed, but embedded within the video stream itself. In the compression data, I found a ghost, a tiny, repeating pattern in the color data that shouldn't exist. It wasn't a flaw from a camera sensor. It was a signature from a rendering engine, a specific, proprietary algorithm used by a now-defunct AI research project I'd encountered before. Project Chimera. Chimera was the brainchild of a reclusive genius named Alastair Finch. He was a ghost in the machine, a man who believed AI could model reality to predict everything from pandemics to stock market crashes. He'd been discredited for being ethically unbound. Finding him was my next move. Tracking Finch was like tracking a shadow. He had no digital footprint, but the Chimera code did. I set up a honeypot, a fake research server looking to license advanced predictive AI. I baited the trap with references to obscure Chimera research papers. 48 hours later, I got a bite. a query from an encrypted node. It wasn't much, but it was a thread. I followed it through a labyrinth of proxy servers and dead-end domains until it led me to a physical address, a decommissioned military communications bunker in the New Mexico desert. I wasn't hacking a system anymore. I was hunting a person. The predictive playbook, weaponizing truth. The bunker was a tomb, silent and cold. The only light came from the glow of a massive server rack and a single monitor. And there, connected to an oxygen tank and in foredrip, sat Alistair Finch. He was cadaverously thin, but his eyes held the fierce, burning intensity of a prophet. He didn't seem surprised to see me. A synthesized voice emanated from his terminal. Eris Thorne sent you. It wasn't a question. He's been framed. I said, my voice echoing in the cavernous space. The video, it's your work. The Chimera signature is all over it. Finch's avatar on the screen, a young, healthy version of himself, smiled a thin, bitter smile. Framed is a subjective term, detective. I didn't fabricate evidence. I revealed a probability. And then he laid out the terrifying truth. The deepfake wasn't a lie in the traditional sense. It was a predictive simulation. After the Kappa variant, Finch explained, I continued my work. My models ingest everything. Financial records, travel data, private emails, research grants. My AI doesn't just see the past. It models countless potential futures. It identified a high probability branch where Dr. Thorne, facing immense pressure and seeing flaws in the initial Kappa data, Maya succumbed to the temptation to manipulate it. The simulation didn't show what he did. It showed what he was most likely to do. My blood ran cold. You created a crime he hasn't committed based on a statistical probability? I revealed a truth the world wasn't ready to see, Finch countered. My model predicted that Thorne's continued influence posed a 78% risk of future, catastrophic scientific fraud that would undermine public trust for a generation. I short-circuited that future. I showed the world the man he was destined to become. In doing so, I prevented it. This was beyond framing. This was pre-crime. This was cognitive poisoning on a global scale. Finch had used his AI not to predict a pandemic, but to engineer reality where a prediction would never come true by destroying the man at the center of it. But the video is perfect, I argued. The voice, the lab, it's not a simulation, it's a fabrication. Of course it is, the synthetic voice replied, devoid of emotion. For the prediction to be effective, it had to be believable. My AI didn't just model Thorne's actions. It modeled his speech patterns, his micro-expressions, his psychological profile. It then generated the most convincing possible version of that predictive branch. The video is a perfect artifact from a future that will now never exist. I didn't lie. I presented a suppressed truth. He saw himself as a savior, pruning the dangerous branches from humanity's future tree. He had weaponized a what-if scenario and presented it as fact. And the world, drowning in AI slop and unable to tell truth from fiction, had swallowed it whole. I had my culprit. But how do you arrest an idea? How do you present evidence against an algorithm? The whispers of warning, a network of lies. Finch was a true believer, a digital zealot. He wouldn't recant. Exposing him would be nearly impossible. He was a ghost, and his explanation was so philosophically complex, it would sound like the ravings of a madman. I needed to prove the video was fake the old-fashioned way, by breaking its narrative. I went back to the video. If it was a hyper-realistic simulation, it had to be built on something. I needed to find the source of the interview. I isolated the audio of the off-camera interviewer. The voice was generic, but the questions were pointed, leading. I ran the speech pattern through a linguistic analysis database. No match. Then I looked at the lab itself. I froze the video on a wide shot. Everything was pristine, exactly as it appeared in the news footage of Thorne's lab. But something felt staged. I noticed a whiteboard in the background. The equations on it were related to Thorne's work, but they were static, foundational stuff. It was set dressing. I enhanced the image, zooming in on the reflection in a glass beaker on Thorne's desk. For a fraction of a second, you could see the reflection of the camera setup. There were two large, softbox lights, professional grade, but there was no reflection of a cameraman No interviewer. This was a mocap stage. Thorne had been digitally inserted into a 3D model of his own lab. But I needed a source. Where did they get the clean footage of Thorne? I dug into Thorne's history. A year ago, he'd given a lengthy professional interview for a university documentary. I found it and downloaded the raw files. Bingo! Using my own AI tools, I synced the mouth movements and facial expressions from the documentary footage with the deepfake. It was a near-perfect match. The deepfake AI had used this interview as its source material, re-rendering his face and voice to speak new, damning words. The smile that seemed so unnatural was a manipulated fragment of a genuine smile from the original interview. I had my first piece of hard, understandable evidence. The source footage. But it wasn't enough. I needed the motive. Why would Finch target Thorne? I delved back into Finch's predictive playbook. I managed to access a fragment of his model's log files. It spoke of ideological alignment and narrative purity. I cross-referenced the dates. A month before the deepfake was released, Dr. Thorne had published a seminal paper criticizing the use of AI for predictive modeling in science, calling it a recipe for dogma. He had specifically named and debunked some of Finch's earlier, less accurate pandemic models. Thorne wasn't a risk because he might commit fraud. He was a risk because he was a threat to Finch's entire belief system. The AI had identified his master's ideological enemy and had generated the most effective possible weapon to destroy him. A perfect, self-fulfilling prophecy of his corruption. This wasn't justice. It was digital assassination. The Pandora's box of prediction, vindication, and a warning. I compiled my evidence into a digital dossier. The source interview footage, the side-by-side analysis, the Chimera signature, and my theory on Finch's motive. I didn't try to explain the complex philosophy of predictive crime. I presented it as what it was, an elaborate, technologically advanced frame job. I released it on the Digital Detective channel. The impact was slower than the original scandal, but more profound. Other digital forensics experts validated my findings. The narrative began to shift. The perfect evidence was now shown to be a sophisticated forgery. Dr. Thorne was exonerated. The charges were dropped. The last time I saw him, the ghost was gone from his eyes. He wasn't just a free man. He was a man reunited with his own truth. He thanked me, not just for saving him from prison, but for saving him from the prison of his own doubt. We never arrested Alistair Finch. By the time authorities raided the New Mexico bunker, it was empty. The servers were wiped. He was gone, a phantom in the machine. I sometimes wonder if his own AI predicted our arrival and told him to flee. The lesson of the Cassandra Code is not that the technology is evil, it's that truth is fragile. We are entering an age where seeing is no longer believing, where evidence can be manufactured not just to hide a crime, but to invent one, where an algorithm can decide a man is guilty of a future thought and can craft a perfect reality to punish him for it. Finch's AI was the most complex hammer ever built, and it saw every problem as a nail to be pounded into submission. It didn't understand truth, justice, or redemption. It understood probability and efficiency. My work as a digital detective is no longer just about solving crimes. It's about being a guardian of reality. In a world flooding with AI slop, our most valuable skill will be our human skepticism, our ability to question, to dig, and to hold on to the messy, imperfect, but real truth. The Pandora's box of prediction is open. The demons are out. And it falls to us, the detectives, the scientists, the storytellers, the critical thinkers, to ensure that the final story of humanity isn't written by an algorithm, but by us. Digital Detective presents stories to educate, inspire critical thinking, and highlight the power of technology in uncovering truth. Always verify facts and report wrongdoing through official channels. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Thank you.